Hi, my name is Akiva Goldman. I'm the director and founder of Goldman and Associates. Our firm has a primary focus on family law issues here in Michigan. And today we're going to continue our video series designed to educate and inform the public, so please subscribe to our channel. We talk a lot about custody and parenting time, but it all presupposes one thing. When we're talking about disputes between the mom and the dad, about where the child should visit, where the child should live, all these things, we are presupposing that paternity has been established, meaning that we know where the child was born. We know who the mother was who gave birth to the child. That's usually not a mystery, but sometimes who the father is could be undetermined. And before the people come and they want to fight about their custody rights and their visitation rights, and do they get Christmas, New Year's, and do they get Thanksgiving Day, or do they get New Year's Eve? Before they start fighting about those details, you got to determine paternity. You can't play the game until you get into the stadium, and you're not even in the stadium if paternity is not established. So how do we establish paternity? Well, a lot of you may think, well, it's simple. I'll go to CVS, I'll get some kind of test, we'll get something at the drugstore, we'll run a quick test, we'll shake a vial, and we'll determine paternity. Well, that may be a way to, in a general sense, determine paternity. And that may also end up being an accurate way, but it's not the court's way, okay? The court likes to use established labs that it knows are reliable in order to do DNA testing. So if you want to establish your paternity, because mom says, I don't know who the father is, you're not on the birth certificate. Now all of a sudden you want parenting time because you broke up with the mom, and she doesn't want to have anything to do with you, and she doesn't want you to have access to your child, you're going to have to file a petition, what we call a DP case, a petition to determine paternity and then to determine custody, parenting time, and child support. When you file that petition, the court, assuming that the court has any reasonable basis at all for determining that you might be the father, because let's say you were in a relationship recently for 2 years, and during the time of the relationship, that child was conceived and born, so you would argue that that child is yours, the court will enter an order requiring DNA testing. It will send the parties to a lab that it recognizes for reliability purposes, and they will issue a report to the court. And in most of those reports that I've seen over the years, they determine paternity to a 99.9% accuracy. In other words, they will conclusively, for the purposes of the court's scientific curiosity, the court will be proven to 99.9% certainty that, scientifically speaking, that's the father. And once that's determined, then the other things will fall into place. Who's going to get the custody? How's the parenting time going to work out? Who's paying support? How much are they paying? All those things will fall into play once the paternity is determined. Now, it's also possible, and I think they even have a program like this in court, Who's the Father, and they have paternity court. It's also possible that you could be ruled out. You could be ruled out of paternity, meaning that they'll say no scientific possibility that this is the father of the child, in which case it may be a big disappointment to you. But if you're not the father, then you don't have father's rights as it relates to that child, at least not from the legal standpoint. There is such a thing as a putative father, and we can certainly have a video about that, but it's not the subject of this particular video. We will suffice it to say that if you're talking about paternity, those are the steps that you need in order to establish paternity. If you have any questions about that, reach out, and we'll be glad to help you out.